let's get straight into it. So, hello everybody, welcome back to the Game FourCast, weekly gaming podcast where we get together and chat about all our favourite video games we've been playing and all the news for the week. My name is Josh, aka BottlerWorks, and I'm here with Olive Meister Will.
Hello, my name is Olive Meister and/or Will, and I'm nearly done with this Darktide level. Okay, I'll just be right there.
And Steve Quikwix.
Hi, I'm Steve, and I stopped playing Pokemon to be here, so you know I must like these guys.
And Sammeh.
Hi, I'm Sammeh, and I've technically not stopped playing Pokemon. I'm in the middle of a cave right now.
Oh my god, everyone's just playing fucking games.
Oh, I've stopped for now because my game crashed and I lost progress.
I saw what you said.
Yeah, well, I think it's the big topic of the week, right? I feel like we should just get straight into it because I think Will is the only one here that hasn't played, but everyone else here has been playing.
I played Pokemon.
Okay.
I played Pokemon. I finally got around to playing Pokemon Arceus, so I'm two behind technically.
We ain't talking about Arceus, Jesus Christ.
I think there's 3 games this week that people is just like it's Darktide, Warzone, and Pokemon. That's all you're going to hear about.
Yeah, so instead of talking about Arceus, we're going to talk about a game that graphically looks a lot worse and runs a lot worse.
That can't be true because Arceus looks terrible.
It is 100% true.
I don't think it's worse all the time. There are definitely points where it's worse, but there are points where it looks better than Arceus.
Okay. Let me set the scene. So, I've played this game. This is Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. I've played this game. Sam has played this game, and Steve has played this game. I am not very far at all. We have reached the school, which is like the intro stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, before we get into this, I'm gonna say we're not gonna spoil anything.
Because you can't, because it's Pokemon.
There's not a lot you really can spoil. But yeah, we're not gonna spoil anything.
I might do one minor thing, but it's like a gym leader, so don't worry. Like I'll get warned before as well.
Okay. Yeah. We're playing Violet. Don't know what you two are playing.
Scarlet.
Violet.
Okay, this is good. I got a mixture. I'm gonna start with just my opinion. This game is such a shame. Just like on the surface, I'm not deep into it, as I said, but just playing it, it's like it's just disappointment. I think just because it's like it could look so much better, right? What do you two think about like first impressions of this game? I
love the game. The graphical issues are like a little bit of a downer, but it's like I'm still getting as much enjoyment out of it as I would if it was like perfect graphic looking, or not. Like the gameplay for me there. I'm really enjoying it.
So the graphical problems aren't taking away anything from the game for you personally.
If I wanted pretty graphics, I wouldn't be playing Pokemon.
But do you not see the problem? Like it could be amazing.
I'm so torn.
Yeah.
Like, the pop in, because in areas where there's a lot of NPCs.
Okay.
Players.
Instead of we don't go into specifics yet. We're going to go through specifics in a second. Sam, what do you think?
At the end of the day, right? Graphically, this game is shocking.
Yeah.
It just is. I will put my money on this game looks worse than Arceus.
I can hear Pokemon in the background of your mic audio.
Right? Yeah, it's like it straight up does run worse. They've somehow gone backwards.
Yes,
graphically.
Are you sure? Because I literally just turned off Arceus, and it's not.
Mate,
it is not a look.
Mate, it is really bad.
This is easy for me. This is easy. It's like in Arceus, you have Pokemon flying around, and like if they're in a distance, they'll be like running at like 2 frames a second. You're like, look at it, and it's like you'll come up to some Pokemon face to face in Scarlet, and they're still doing that, and you're like, "No, we've closed the distance here. You're supposed to be, you're supposed to be running at full sprint now."
The most jarring bit of that for me was there's a bit we just got to. Again, we got to the school, and it does like a classroom scene, and there's probably like 15 kids in this classroom, and
Yes.
I think like 10 out of the 15 of them are all doing the same animation at about
Swinging
like
their legs, right?
10 frames a second in a game that's running
Oh,
maybe
yeah, it's
20
leg
frames a
swinging.
second. It is, oh my god, it
So,
is like so jarring.
I have a question. Let's set the stage today first. How are you guys playing? Is it handheld? Is it docked? And what Switch model are you using?
We're docked on original Switch.
Docked on original Switch.
Okay, same as me then. Docked on original Switch.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the graphical issues are there. It's usually like sometimes it's like in like an environment thing, which kind of sucks a little bit. For the most part, it's like always like in the busy like town areas. When you're actually like doing the battles, like hunting down specific Pokemon, I don't find it that bad at
like-
all. I'm like,
The game targets, I assume it targets 30 FPS, which it never hits consistently, not from what we've played.
It does in battles and stuff.
Yeah, but even if it did hold a consistent frame rate, it looks horrible. Like I know it's like almost like a meme, like a PS2 graphics. It looks like a PS2 game in certain parts, and it's like
in certain ways, yeah.
And it's like, in terms of games that I played recently, I'm still playing God of War Ragnarok, which isn't a fair comparison, different systems, but same generation, looks insanely good. And then just a few weeks ago, I was playing Xenoblade 3, which looks a million times better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like,
the big thing online I'm seeing is people who are like, oh, this game could have done with another year. Why did they not wait another year? But these are the same people who are also like, oh, it's been 3 years. Why haven't we got a new mainline game? You know. So I think there was like a pressure to get these games out.
yeah.
But now people are saying, oh, they should have waited. But for me, like the FPS of like some of the background character animations when you're like in a busy city, that's probably, I'm assuming that might not get fixed as quickly. But like a lot of the bugs and the graphical issues, I assume will be patched probably.
I don't know if they will, because things like certain elements running at half FPS, that's not normally like a bug. That's a performance tweak. That's to make the game.
I was saying, I don't think that might not be. But the all the hilarious, and they are kind of funny, like videos online people are posting of like their character growing massive when they're on their bikes, or their hands are breaking as they're doing like a wave emote or something. All of those are probably going to be fixed. Some of like the issues of like textures missing and whatnot, or clipping through the floors, I assume those will be fixed as well at some point. Like
stuff like that is fine to a degree, because you know that those might get fixed and patched. But the general running of the game, that's not going to get patched.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, I'm just like, maybe they're like, oh, there'll be a new Switch Pro at some point that will run the game better. I don't know.
I just feel like it's just disappointing, because even if they fixed all the performance issues, the game is still like, it's still a buggy mess. There's still problems everywhere, and I feel like from what I've played so far, it overshadows the whole experience for me. I feel like I can't walk a minute in the game without something popping in, or a shadow breaking, or the camera clipping under a map.
Is this the kind of thing?
That much issue?
So this is their first go at like a mainline open world game, right?
A mainline one, yeah. Arceus was like
Arceus is kind of a spin-off.
Yeah.
Ish. I don't know.
What I want to say here, though, is we're throwing the word mainline in as if that matters in the slightest.
It feels like
they have made an open world
Pokemon game,
and this is exactly the same in so many regards.
Well, that was my question. Is this bigger in scope? And that's why it's not as good. Now, are these sacrifices worth a game that's bigger in scope than
I would
come
say
before it.
I'm not far
This
enough
game
in to
is-
say.
I think this game is bigger in scope because where you'll be able to like eventually, I haven't unlocked it yet, but we've seen you can fly in the game. Like
Yeah.
the whole world is one, it's interconnected. Like there's no, you can play with no loading screens except for I think in the main city. So it's bigger because Arceus was like it was open world, but it was technically like 5 different zones. You know,
Mhm.
I believe.
Yeah, it's like,
And,
like quote unquote like Monster Hunter maps kind of thing, wasn't it? Where it's just like here's a
Yeah.
big area, do some stuff
Yeah.
in Arceus, and then go back to base.
But yeah, like as I said, like the issues are unfortunate, but I'm still having as much fun with this, other than like the one crash I got, and there was one also like softlock freeze. Other than those two, I'm having as much fun as I would even if it looked perfect. I would be like, slightly happier if it looked
Yeah.
perfect, but I'm still enjoying the core gameplay loop. I'm still enjoying like hunting down all the different Pokemon, learning like over here there could be some spawn that I haven't seen before, and I found a shiny Lechonk, and I'm like, oh, I named it Miss Piggy, and because it's a nice little pink pig.
But-
And yeah, it's just I'm having a blast with it.
I'm having a lot of fun with this game, right? I'll throw this out there. I stopped Sword and Shield at the first gym, and I am on gym 4 now.
Yeah,
I am having a blast, but I'm having a blast in spite of the graphics and it running shit.
it's like Sorry, you go. Will.
Well, I was going to say, Sam, what's the difference? What do you think is the difference? Why did you drop Sword and Shield and not this one?
So Sword and Shield, they tried to do the open area thing with the wild zone.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
It wasn't, right? You still just had routes, and then you had a big wild zone area, and then like you went back onto your normal Pokemon routes. Whereas this is all open world.
yeah,
There is exploration, and they in my opinion have done the right thing and given you fast travel from the get-go. They've given you a fast way to travel around the map, and they've given you 3 different things to do to, well, maybe even more. I've only unlocked 3 different things to progress the story.
yeah. So,
So
it's more.
they've given me options, which I think I have to do all of them anyway. Like, maybe they're not actually options. It's, you can do it any order you want, but you must do them all. I think is how it's going down. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
right,
yet. I'm not
okay.
far enough. But still, the fact that it's not like go do gym 1 and 2, right, story plot cutscene, we're not letting you progress until you do this power plant, for
Yeah,
example,
it's
that might
different.
happen in an old
It's
Pokemon
different.
game.
It's like like you say, like in spite of it, this is the first time they've tried something like this. So at least for me, it's the curiosity is there of like, okay, where are they going to go with it, right? Like,
Mhm.
it's not just like you say, it's not just going to be 8 gyms and then a final
Yeah.
ending.
After playing Arceus, though, and now playing this, I have no faith they can make a decent open world game on the Switch.
No, I agree.
It's not going to happen. They failed 2 out of 2 times to make a good running game on the Switch.
Well, I've
Yeah.
said this for I said this for a very long time, and it's quite mean, but I do stand by it. Where I still think these games and Arceus and all that lot it's not a Switch problem. It's not a time problem. It's a Game Freak problem.
Yeah.
They-
I think the Switch doesn't help, but I've now seen too many games on the Switch where I've gone, well, why does their game look beautiful? Why does
Yeah.
that game run smooth?
yeah.
Why can't the company that's been doing this for so many fucking years
And
that know that this should be the easiest slam dunk in the world can't make a tree that doesn't look like it's got more than 2 sides?
And then the problem that I always come back to, which is it's just the disappointment factor, which is it's you can't forget that this is literally one of the most popular brands in the world that makes so much money, stupid amounts of money. It is arguably, it's the biggest one of the biggest media properties in the world. Yet,
Yeah, but there's not, like, everyone knows Pokemon. It is one of those brands.
and then the games are just horrible. Like, why does it look so horrible?
Yeah. Well, again, it's one of the things where the game plays well. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying running around. Again, for me, it's if you're making me move fast in the world, so I can choose what to do and when to bail, and it doesn't feel like a slog. I tend to have
Yeah.
a bit more fun,
Mm.
but it still runs. Still runs like crap.
I've never been one to be like a huge graphical snob. Like I don't need games to run at 60 FPS. Like it's nice, but I can play a game without it. The big thing for me about this game, which is it's not a deal breaker because I complete it anyway, is it's an open world game with no level scaling, and there's 5 titans, 5 evil rival bases, and then there's 8 gym badges, and there is a clear level like set path. Like it's not clear in game anywhere, like you have to look online, but there is like a clear, like this one's for like level 11 to 12, this one's like level 15, then it's 17, then 20, then 23, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, that's not anywhere obvious in games. So it's either you look online and follow that set path, or you go up one side of the map, I guess, and you have to kind of like really level to make sure you catch up to where it's like skipping ahead slightly, and then you're so over leveled when you go back to do the other sides of the map that kind of like, I'm like, that could be better.
See, I disagree with that. For me, this has the Elden Ring thing where because you can go anywhere, you start getting to points where you're like, can't really keep up.
Yeah,
here.
I clearly shouldn't be.
Maybe I should go somewhere else.
True.
Like that's the angle I took with it.
Yeah.
I did a gym and was like, okay, yes, I'm a bit over leveled for this. Got to the next gym, went, okay, this is on level. And then all the wild Pokemon were then above my level. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go left when I went right at that one turn and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly
Yes,
shouldn't be.
I came back and it's like, okay, I'm now in Shit Town again for a little bit. But I'm in Shit Town where I fuck everything up, but everything is new, so I need to catch all of these Pokemon anyway, so I want to be here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I am a bit iffy with the scaling. Like, a little bit of me is worried, because in Pokemon, you always over-level shit.
Well, yeah, when I find whenever I play, because I usually get both versions, whenever I play the first version, because you usually can't transfer up from previous generations at the start, so I usually find that I catch everything in my main version, and then I overlevel everything, and it's very difficult. And then when I play the second version to get like the other legendaries and stuff, I will usually skip a bunch because I'm like, I've done this before, and then it feels like, oh wait, this is how this boss, or like this gym lead fight's meant to go, or this is how this is meant to go. Where it's like it's a little bit like I'm doing it under leveled in a way, and it's a little bit more challenging. I'm like, oh, there's actual mechanics here. But you know, if you play it the first time, catching every Pokemon, you over level and you don't get to see those. So the way I play, I enjoy the way I play both. Like I will play both versions of the game, and I'm just like the big question for me is, when are they going to patch some stuff? Like, is it going to be like in a week, in a month, in a couple months? You know,
it'll be, I imagine, a month or so. Probably just do one big drop.
Well, there are some bugs, like I said, the crash and the soft lock for me were major. If they could get those out quick, I assume they would.
On the topic of like jank, we had so many problems literally from the get-go that I started making a list on my phone of everything that was happening whilst we were playing. Because I thought, oh, okay, if this is going to be a regular occurrence, I want to like document all this. So I'm going to go through a few things that happened to us, and I want to know if you had any of these. So first things first, we had in the opening cutscene, the screen started fading to black with a bunch of characters that were like chatting or something in front of a school, and before the screen faded to black, they all started T-posing.
Did not have that. No.
Okay, so that was when that was first belly laugh number one. Like we were just howling at this because the opening cutscene already runs at like 20 FPS or something. So we had that. We've talked a lot about performance, but just to give people a rough idea of what it is like, I would say the game is an inconsistent frame rate, probably about 70-80% of the time. It always feels really jittery. Again, that's our experience.
I would say I definitely feel like the game chug a little, but I'm not one for like. I probably can't tell.
I'll be honest, I've
the
not
frame rate.
noticed it chug drastically.
Yeah, not
No,
drastically.
it's not okay. It's not chugging as in like, oh my god, this is such a low frame rate, but more like it can never hold a stable frame rate. It's never a solid like 30, which again I assume is what it's aiming for. It's always like a little bit below, and then because of that, the frame timing is really odd. So it's like got a weird bit of like jitter. You really don't get that?
If you pointed at a screen and said like which one's 30, which one's 60, and which one's below and in between, I'd be like, I don't know. You know.
I would.
Okay. Well, anyway, we had that. We had.
Mhm.
We were just walking around the house that you start in, and the camera was clipping through the walls and turning the whole screen black.
Not had that. I have seen people online post about that, but I haven't had that at all.
We were just walking around the house. We had that like a few times before we even left the house. Quite a few times when just fighting and catching Pokemon, the camera just falls under the map. And
I've not had it fall under the
What
map.
the fuck?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of these. I've not encountered any wall clipping or falling under map.
Really,
we've not once. Not once.
The camera clipping one is a really consistent one we keep getting. It's always when
I have heard that.
it's when we like what seems to trigger it is we'll be fighting a Pokemon on like a slight hill or an incline,
Mm-hmm.
and when you throw a Pokeball and catch it, the camera zooms in on the ball, right? It gets really close to the Pokeball, and it's just like if it's from just a funny angle, the camera just goes under the map, and you just see everything just breaks.
Other than like I posted a screenshot to Discord today. Other than like that once in a cave, I've not had that like at all. Like it's been pretty good. Like you can check my stream VOD. I streamed a lot of the Pokemon game, and it was pretty okay. It was okay, yeah.
So yeah,
Like,
so we've had that quite a few times. There's the other obvious stuff where it's just like you'll be talking to a character and in the background there's an NPC like sliding around at like 2 FPS animations to save performance or something. That always looks really jank.
Mhm.
We've had quite a few like shadows just appearing just out of nowhere when you get close to like a cliff. It seems to be cliff shadows, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I've
had
noticed a lot with shadows.
There's a lot of
shadows.
Yeah.
Are a problem.
And it's just like I'm just gonna say it. It feels like Cyberpunk. Like
I think it's graphically yes, but like Cyberpunk was unplayable.
Cyberpunk was not unplayable.
I'm surprised people.
For a lot of people, it was.
Yeah, I'm surprised people aren't more upset at what's happening with Pokemon. I feel like this is awful.
This is bad, but I think people are memeing on it a lot with like they're getting their 5 minutes of Twitter fame because they're posting a video and it's being viral. And then also Pokemon fans have been used and abused for years. Like it's always with Pokemon, they always go like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back.
I hate that. It's like the game's allowed to be shit because they're used to it. It's like what kind of backwards logic is that?
I mean, you say that there are other games where people it's basically the same as well. Like look at Darktide. Darktide apparently is riddled with performance issues at the moment, but the Warhammer fans are. I've been watching the Amatorium stream, and he's been saying how like servers been crashing. There's been other stuff, but he's still enjoying the game. It's like if you love a franchise, you look past some of the issues. Like,
but I feel sorry for Pokemon fans because you pay 50 quid for a brand new game. Some people like yourself, you're paying like close to 100 quid for 2 copies.
I'm still getting as much enjoyment, even if it looks good. I would like save the pity for like those Star Fox fans.
It's not pity. I feel
Star
like
Games ran.
It's not pity. I feel like as customers, you should expect better from these developers.
They don't care, Josh, and most of them are children.
The one thing I want to put forward is Pokemon has never looked good.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's
no one's ever going to be like, oh man, like this game doesn't I think it doesn't run as well as Arceus, but no one's going to be like, this game's so much worse than Arceus. They're just not going to say that because it's not that much of a downgrade.
But and it's also
They're just
like
used
not
to shit
important.
like this.
It's also like not important. Like if you're playing Pokemon to get Pokemon to catch the Pokemon, you don't necessarily, you don't need it to look good like other games. Like God of War. If God of War looked bad, would it still be as popular? Whereas Pokemon can look bad and it's still as popular because people love the gameplay, people love the creatures, the characters themselves.
But
but I also agree with Josh's point. It was
I agree
shouldn't
as
be the
well.
way it is.
I was gonna say this is the first Pokemon game, because every Pokemon game's had definitely got rough spots, but this is the first one where the bugs are so prevalent online. There's definitely going to be consequences for the Pokemon company, I think, and also
No, there won't be.
I don't think there will be.
Imagine,
this is already the
there'll be
best-selling one of all
nothing.
time.
True,
Yeah.
but it's so prevalent online, like everywhere. Everyone's posting the bugs. Like Pokemon's always had like some rough, like there'll be bad textures and stuff, but this one is the buggiest Pokemon game we've ever had.
It feels like they're deliberately riding a line to see like how far to like save time or whatever. Like how janky of a game can we shit out before we've actually gone too far?
I've heard people there's a lot of cynics online that sound like you, Josh, where it's just like, oh, this is Pokemon saying that they're giving up and stuff, and it's like, no, they're like they've tried, they're not the best.
I don't think it's them giving up. I think it's them having a certain amount of time, and then them saying, "Is this is buggy? This doesn't run well. It looks like terrible. Can we still ship this?" And them going, "Yeah, we can. Yeah."
I mean,
think you're attributing maliciousness to where it's just incompetence, though.
Yeah,
I just think they're not a very good dev, and they don't have a lot of time, and people keep buying them. So why would they bother changing anything?
Yeah. I don't think it's malicious. I'm not trying to sort of put it down as maliciousness. I'm just saying it's just like them being like, we can sell this. Like, we know it's janky. We know it's busted.
That's been the same since like Pokemon. Black, yellow, blue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you go back and watch videos and documentaries on the first Pokemon games and how shit they actually were from a coding and like programming perspective, but just because they were fun to play, no one fucking cared. And the same is going to hold true for this, because as I said, I'm just enjoying playing the game. I can see all of the graphics drops and the shit graphics that I wish was better and whatnot. But the fact that it just plays well and time flies as I'm playing it, I don't care.
Yeah, same.
And that's, for most people, is going to be how it is, regardless of whether that's right or not. Unfortunately,
I will play more of this, or we're playing it. Me and Laura are playing it together, and we will probably finish it. But regardless of whether or not we have fun with it, there will always be the thing in the back of my mind, which is just a nagging feeling of this could have been so much better, and it's not.
Yeah. But and the worst thing is this could have been so much better, and it wouldn't have sold like that much more, right?
Yeah. It's already like
the sad bit.
Well.
I think we're before we start going in circles, we'll probably start wrapping up here. But unless
I was just going to say, I wanted to have one little fun anecdote of this has been officially revealed that there is a gym leader, but like, so if you're avoiding all spoilers, like just like 2 minutes, but there's an electric type gym leader who's a streamer.
Oh, I saw that video. Yeah.
Oh my! I did it live on stream, and oh my god, it's the funniest
Really?
shit.
That was the one bit where I was like, I might need a break.
Yeah.
This is so boring.
It was partly it was cringy, but also it was like, oh, they're actually saying some true stuff. Like she's like, oh, the gym leader's like, oh, to battle me for our battle collab, you need to put in the view. So we need to, like it was like, oh, there are some truths here. And it was just like, oh, me and my chat were in stitches. It was so
I don't know. I think that's people just reading too far into things.
Probably, but my chat is also like we've also like the Mona, the main rival. Everyone's convinced she wants to get with the main character, and it's a lot of silly.
Based on what?
Isn't the main character like
constantly 8? Wanting to battle? It might just be my chat.
Isn't the main character like 8?
Don't know. They don't say an age.
Your rival is like 11 or 12, and your main rival has the like anime trope of like a battle freak. You know those like battle nuts. All they want to do is just fight.
Yeah.
That's the personality.
It might just be like we're having silly fun, putting but it's just I've been playing this game. I have a smile on my face the entire time, other than when it crashes. Of course, other than the one crash, of course.
Other than when it's breaking.
Yeah, other than when it's breaking, I'm still like oh, I get to go over there. Oh, there's a new Pokemon. Oh, I wonder how this is going to be. Like all these characters, and the only other complaint, really, the big complaint I have is it should have voice acting. Like,
yeah, I thought that as well. There was a bit where you're in a cave right at the start, and I think again, like the rival character or whatever, she shouts down like, "Are you okay?" And I think that was when it hit me, where I just went, "Oh my god, there's no voice acting."
Yeah,
I don't think I hadn't noticed until that point specifically, and it hit me like a truck, where I was like, "Oh my god." There's just no voice acting.
Because the crazy thing is that they one of their first trailers, they had one of the director voiced in it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, but and then there's like a little subtitle at the bottom, like, there's not actually voice acting in this game, And it's like, oh, come on. But yeah, as I said, still having fun.
Game Freak is shit.
Got some problems.
Game Freak is shit.
Pokemon is just fun to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on from there then. I think there's one or two more big hitters to talk about this week. I'm going to drop this in really quickly. So I'm still playing Ragnarok. Ragnarok is still my main game. I still haven't finished it, but Jesus Christ, this game is so good. This game is so good. I think I said most of my stuff last week about like the combat is great, the story is great, but like I'm starting to hit some really big like story points.
Yeah.
This game is just amazing. I love this game. I just want to dive in and play more of this game. I think they just do such a great job of really grounding these characters. They're all the characters like gods and stuff, right? But they're just really cool characters. They're just amazing, and all the new characters, because there's tons of new characters now that I'm all the way in. They're just brilliant. The voice acting is just stellar. The story is really ramping up. I thought this isn't a spoiler because it's from the end of the first game, so I suppose some minor spoilers at the end of the first game. When Thor is shown at the end of the first game, and you see him at the start of this one, I thought he was voiced by, I think his name's Josh Brolin. It's the guy that plays Thanos in Marvel.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, I thought it was him, to the point where I had to like Google it. I was like, is this actually him? And it's not. It's someone else. But I was like, the guy sounds just exactly the same as Thanos from Marvel movies. But yeah, I'm definitely going to finish this before next week's podcast, because I cannot stop playing this game. It's amazing.
So how many hours in are you now?
I'm really far in, so I think I'm probably like 20 something. I've gotten to the point where, because remember the first one, it's kind of Metroidvania-y-ish, where it's like
very lightly, yeah.
I've gotten to the point where I've gotten all like traversal items and weapons and everything. I can now do everything in the world, and I'm pretty sure I have I'm pretty sure I've done every big location, so all I've got left basically is almost like a straight line through story missions to just do the game. But yeah, absolutely loving it.
I didn't. No, I won't say that actually. In case you don't know, I won't say that.
Well, I'll finish
I'll
it.
save that for next week.
Yeah,
after you finish it.
I'll finish it by next week. But yeah, there's been a couple of scenes that I've just done literally today, where it's just as they've finished, I've just been like, oh, it's gorgeous. Oh, this game's, it's brilliant. Oh, it's like the music and everything is just stellar. And again,
look at you with your game with good graphics.
Oh, that's why it's so fucking jarring to play this.
I can't imagine going from God of War on PS5 on a 4K TV.
Literally,
I think that's your problem. Like,
Pokemon
stop
on
playing
Switch.
good graphic games and you won't care as much.
But God of War looks
Just be
insanely
7
good.
again, Josh, and it won't matter to you.
It looks so good, and it runs at locked 60. It's yeah.
Can't relate.
Can't relate. Got to play shitty Pokemon games. Yeah, that's me done. Will, what do you want to talk about?
Hello, I've played Darktide all this week. Well, I'd say all this week. I've done a couple of big sessions and a bit of quick play here and there.
Yeah.
And I'm really enjoying this game. I think I was sort of predisposed to really liking this game because I enjoyed Vermintide, but didn't love it. But I really love the 40k setting. So
yeah,
I feel like this is a game for me, sort of thing. And it is very much Vermintide again, with a couple of very key differences in that there's a bigger focus on ranged combat now, which I think is nice, but I've seen some complaints about it online, because it's you and the enemies both have guns, so you can get shot at in this game
while
you're dealing with there'll be little squads of guys with like rifles, and they'll take cover and try and flank you and stuff, so that they are intelligent, and I think it makes for interesting, slightly more interesting encounters, where in Vermintide I felt like it was just clicking on hordes of enemies until they're all dead, sort of thing. Okay, and occasionally a special guy would show up. This now feels like you have to pick your battles a lot more because you can get like bogged down in hordes of minions while ranged enemies like shoot at you, which is it's interesting. And you also have more ranged options to deal with them, which means it just engagements are feel a lot more dynamic in this than they did in Vermintide.
Is the mission set up exactly the same as Vermintide, where it's like hub area and then go do missions, and there is like a linear story, but you can kind of do what you want?
It's a bit different in that it doesn't feel like, because like in Left 4 Dead and in Vermintide as well, there was like an intended order to play through these levels. And this doesn't feel like that so far. It feels more like your character has a story, and then the missions are almost just a vehicle to progress your character and get stronger, and then as you go through the levels, your character gains levels, and as they level up, that triggers more story to play out, sort of thing.
Interesting.
Which is I'm really enjoying the gameplay, but I feel like some of the structure stuff is where I feel like it's like steps forward and steps back, much like a Pokemon game. In that there are no characters in this. You don't pick a character, you make your own character. Which is cool, right? Because it means you're more invested, sort of thing. And you get when you get gear, it's like you get gear for your character, sort of thing. But it also means the characters are less interesting, I feel like, in this than they were in Vermintide. One, because it's essentially soldiers versus zombies. You have 4 classes, and 3 of them are, you've got human that shoots, human that does magic, and human that is I can't tell what a human is just angry with melee, and then there's the Ogryn who is like much bigger and they're more tanky.
Yeah.
But it feels like in a Vermintide had what human, dwarf, elf, a whole bunch of stuff,
Had a whole-
and it,
yeah,
it
had a
felt
whole
way
bunch of
more
characters, yeah.
diverse. Yeah. And then even within those characters, they all had a bunch of different subclasses, right? And that would change sort of what kind of character they were. And this, it kind of feels like unless someone's an Ogryn, they just look like dirty people.
Yeah, I feel like as someone that I don't know much about Warhammer 40k at all, right?
Yeah.
So my perspective towards like a 40k game is probably like sacrilege, but I would want like a space marine, an orc, a Tau robot dude, and just like this makes no sense. Like who cares? Like
no, yeah. I think no, and I think that's right. I think it doesn't feel like they're not doing that in service of anything. Like in this, you are a prisoner who helps someone escape.
Yeah,
who it turns out to be really important, and they kind of enlist you almost. But it's like there's no reason they couldn't put in like aliens and stuff. They just haven't, I guess, for I don't know, saving money on cosmetics and stuff. They can kind of spread the animations and stuff around.
Because 40k's got tons of weird shit. That's all.
Tons
like,
of weird shit.
You get what's it like? There's like Eldar. That's a
there's
thing.
There's the space elves. There's orcs.
Like you said, there's the Zerg, whatever they're called, Tyranids.
Yeah, there's the Zerg. Yeah.
Again, like I'm so surface, but I know there's a whole bunch of interesting stuff. And it feels like, it looks like, as an outsider, it feels like this game is this way because that's what makes sense lore-wise. I don't know. That's just like as an outsider looking in, that's what I imagine.
No, I think you're pretty much right, and I think even within the classes, they don't do a good job of making each class really, really unique and interesting.
Yeah,
I don't like, and it feels like unlike something like Left 4 Dead, they have this RPG mechanic where your character levels up and you get stronger gear and you get more skills and perks as you level up, sort of thing. But you don't. It's weird, like in Borderlands, you would start off and you would be like, you'd get a couple levels and you'd be like, all right, okay, I understand what the idea of this guy is, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you'd start getting wacky guns and stuff, and you'd start feeling like, your character, building out your character. And in this one, I don't feel like the classes are super unique or super interesting.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing as the Ogryn. That's the one I've got furthest in, and it's like the first unlock I got was like you take 20% less damage.
No,
and it's like,
I was worried you were going to say that.
I was like, come on, guys, that's not super exciting. And it's the same with the gear. You'll be like, oh, it's a green sword, and you're like, what does it do? And it's like plus 10% damage in brackets flak armored enemies, and it's like, that doesn't excite me. And I'm sure it gets better later on. As gear gets more modifiers and you get more perks to unlock. But it's just, it feels like I'll end up at a really interesting class rather than starting at an interesting class and then expanding from there, if that makes sense.
I know what you mean. Yeah, you should from level 0, 4 different classes should all do completely different things.
It's like I feel like when you start a Diablo, within half an hour you're like, okay, right, I'm a mage, I'm a glass can, I understand how this class works, sort of thing. But whereas in this, it feels like everybody starts from the same, like, you are human point, you are just man point, and it slowly trickles in more rewards from there.
You should pick a class, and one guy should have a massive, like, Warhammer and do big AoE shit, and another class should have just like a railgun or something, like the complete opposite.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, okay, I'll pick this one because this one has the big stick or something. Or
Yeah.
I'm waiting for this on Game Pass, which I think is The 30th?
30th. Yeah, I get. Yeah, technically this is early access, but I can't. They've said they're adding. There's a couple more bits they're like adding in before launch, like trickling in.
Yeah.
But for the most part, this is launch.
Soft
I
launch.
was going to say the things that worry me is like as Will said, like the shooting enemies. Like I like Vermintide because it is kind of like mindless in a way. Like you just go in, hold left click a bit, and then if you get higher difficulties, you of course have to worry a bit more. But the enemies that she can shoot in like cover, I'm like, that's not mindless. I want a Dynasty Warriors kind of experience, where you just like mow people down.
Well, on easy, this is still very mindless.
And B is the fact that the Game Pass and the Steam versions can't connect. Because I know so many people who have got the Steam versions, but it's like, but I don't want to pay 50 quid for this game if it's coming to Game Pass.
I'll play with you, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just it's a shame that in this day and age that on PC games can't connect. Like,
that's the one big downside. I mean, that's almost the only downside I see to Darktide.
Yeah, if the comparison that I always use because it's really relevant is when Game Pass first came out, and I played Dead by Daylight on it, and there was no crossplay between Dead by Daylight on Steam and Game Pass, and obviously Game Pass was new, Dead by Daylight was not new, so it had an established player base on Steam.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't find matches.
Yeah,
it took like 15
but that
minutes
is
to find a
something
match.
They've said on their Discord. They are working on this. It just won't be in for launch.
I just hope it's not too late. That's my problem. That's my concern. It's just if this comes out, has its moment, and then the ship sails.
I mean, but it's similar to Pokemon, for better or for worse. Everybody who is even slightly interested in this has bought it already, and it's 30 quid. It's not a full price. Unlike Pokemon, it's not £60.
Yeah.
So
my Pokemon was only £40. So
well, okay, it's
Amazon
discounted even on that.
My turd cost less.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Apart from that, it's pretty much Darktide. They've really, I mean, there's not much to say about the combat. You hit things and you push things back when there's too many things, and it feels really, really good to just wade into a crowd as this like 8 foot tall like ogre, and just like there's one weapon. It's a 2-handed club, and the every melee weapon has like a special attack, and along with like light and heavy. And the special attack for this club is your guy just fully open palm just does a massive slap across the face. And it's so funny when you get like a special enemy or something, and it's just like, oi, you just slap them across, like mauling your mate, and you just go up and like fully open hand slap them across the face.
Give him the Will Smith.
yeah, exactly. It's amazing. It's like game of the year for that feature alone.
Yeah.
Somebody thought to put that in.
I'm the opposite I'm the opposite to Steve when it comes to this, because Steve's saying that he really liked Vermintide because of the melee, whereas I was like, I like Vermintide, it's good, but I much prefer Left 4 Dead. So the idea of like shooting is more appealing to me than melee.
Yeah, and I still don't think any game has come close to when you would unload into a horde of zombies with the like machine guns in Left 4 Dead. I don't think anything's felt as good as that, even here. But you do get some really satisfying weapons in this game.
Yeah, I just want Left 4 Dead 3. That's all I want.
Because I'm really not that big on Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah.
Like Vermintide 2 for me is peak.
I think it depends what you put into it. I think it's better here, but I don't think they've quite nailed it yet. I don't think their progression systems are that interesting for the amount they want you to play. People are like, I'm at level 8 now, of 30 after playing maybe 5 or 6 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
And apparently people have said it gets really grindy later on. And I just feel like I'm like, why?
Yeah, what are you grinding for? What's the point?
What's the point? It's literally the same problems that Destiny has, where it's like, number go up is essentially it. and I don't think I'm sold on it still. I think progression is fun in games like these, but when it's you're running the same missions but harder to level up so you can run the same missions but harder, it feels like why am I doing this?
It's always to me felt like it's almost like psychological padding for when the gameplay loop just isn't quite compelling enough to make you play forever.
Yes, uncharitable, but yes, I feel like that's good.
Yes, and it's one of those things where, and I feel like it's like some game developers can't accept that people won't play their game forever. It's okay to make a game that finishes and you're done with it. Whereas a lot of games now are designed like, no, we need you here forever.
Yeah.
Our money, the money we've calculated, the profit, depends on a certain percentage of player base being here forever. because that's how a lot of games are now.
And this game does feel like it's setting up to be much more of a like a live service launch.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Where I'm like, I don't think everything is quite in here, but it feels like it's going to be much easier to expand this than they did with something like Vermintide.
Yeah.
Almost.
Like
they went into it with forward planning in mind, you know.
Yeah, it's like, 3 or 4 months from now, here is a new class, and also here's our first battle pass and modifiers and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, here it is.
Yeah, here's some new story beats or something. Yeah.
Here's what felt like should have been here a while ago, but just wasn't quite ready yet, maybe.
Yeah. I can't let the Darktide bit go by without mentioning this might be soundtrack of the year, fairly comfortably. The music in this is unbelievably good.
I've heard this from a lot of people.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. And I feel like it's there was 40k game called Mechanicus came out a couple years ago, which nailed the sort of, I don't know how you describe, like synth organ meets some weird industrial music kind of, and it's like, I feel like this is taking a lot of notes from that, and it almost feels like that game went, this is how a 40k soundtrack should sound, and everyone's been like, right, I get it, and now this is just jumping off of that, and it sounds even better, and it's fucking nuts.
I need you to send me like 1 or 2 tracks, just like pick out a couple and send to me.
I'll hook you up. Yeah. I've already got some favorites.
Yeah, because Metal Hellsinger was already a really solid soundtrack. So if you're saying if it's better than that, then I'll give it a listen, because I want to.
Well, maybe, but I feel like Metal Hellsinger is cheating because it's just a bunch of metal bands making music. That's not fair.
still a game OST. It still counts.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to wrap up Darktide then, or are you all done? We can move on to the next.
I'm so glad 40k games are finally getting their day in the sun.
Yeah.
This universe is awesome. There's the Owlcat RPG coming out. The people who make Pathfinder. They're making a 40k RPG, and I'm so ready for it. It looks awesome. More 40k games. I want to see it.
Sick.
That's it.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
And then we have there was one other big thing that a lot of us played this week, which was
Arceus.
No, Warzone. Warzone 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Oh yeah.
So Warzone 2 is officially out. It came out on, what was it, Wednesday? Wednesday 16th, I think it was.
Wednesday the 16th at 6 p.m.
Yeah. Not a single problem on the evening. It
went launched flawlessly. I didn't have a problem.
Yeah, so me, Sam, and Will played on Wednesday. We're mainly playing the DMZ mode. That's
all I care about.
Yeah, it's the Escape from Tarkov light.
Oh.
Yeah, you load to a map, do some stuff, have to extract. If you don't extract, or you lose all your stuff and you usually fail a few missions or whatever. I've played this on and off. I think it's pretty fun. What did you two think of it?
It's very fun.
Yeah.
I really like it. Yeah. I was really hoping that either Darktide or DMZ would suck, so I wouldn't have to play them. But the whole time I'm playing Darktide, I'm thinking about DMZ, and the whole time I'm playing DMZ, I'm thinking about Darktide, and it's
Yeah.
it's like a grass is greener thing. But yes, I really, really like DMZ. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think I know it's officially in beta, right? The DMZ mode.
Yeah.
It's still missing a few little bits. But it's so close. It's so fun. It's like my problem with Tarkov was I always just think for the games that I play, Tarkov was always just a little bit too slow for me. Tarkov is so slow to the point where I rarely even shoot weaponry, so that when I have to shoot weaponry, I don't know how the weapons work. I feel like
yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Whereas Call of Duty is like, yeah, here's a Tarkov kind of game mode. It's not as hardcore, but whatever. It's got Call of Duty's shooting mechanics. So you've got like 12 years worth of experience with the way these guns work. It's a lot faster. It's just really fun. You're a lot further in than I think we are, right, Will? You've played like a couple of streams worth.
Yeah, like further in is like, what does that even mean? Because I feel like everyone says this is like a Tarkov light, but I really think this is more like Hunt. I
can see
a
that.
light version of Hunt. Even it has the same like contraband system. It has. It feels less. Tarkov feels like almost an RPG where other players will regularly interrupt what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Whereas this feels like, I almost feel like you would play this for a week and have done a lot of missions and just be like, I just want to hunt and kill players. In a and the PvE will be there as just a way, like in Hunt, to force people together.
Yeah, to funnel you towards other players.
Yeah, you'll be like, oh, gunfire going off. Let's go. That means there's people. Let's go fight them.
Yeah. When I had to try and explain this game to a couple of our friends, I had to say, like, this game is nothing like Tarkov.
Yeah.
People that are telling you it's like Tarkov are wrong. It is not like Tarkov.
Yeah, I almost feel like that common, almost turn of phrase at this point is hurting this game, because I feel like a lot of Tarkov people are coming to this and being like, this is nothing like Tarkov, and people who are potentially interested in this are being like put off because everybody's saying it's like Tarkov.
The problem is then how do you sell this? Because you can't call it a Hunt showdown, because that basically means nothing to a lot of people.
Because no one's heard of it.
Yeah.
I just think you call this like a PvE kind of Warzone-esque mode.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
It is mainly a PvE mode with other players that are just on the map doing their thing.
Yeah.
That's just what this mode is. And the main thing, the thing I love the most about this game, which I know won't sit well with a lot of people, is there's no real end goal.
Yeah.
You go in, you do a mission or two so that you can get some money, get some gear, and then you just go and fuck up really hard AI, or you go hunt players.
Yeah. And I feel like if I was to play a lot more and start working out certain hot zones and what sort of things on a map that are happening mean players are doing this, that, and the other, I think the Hunt comparison is good, because it just means you go in and you're like, okay, there is no kind of like meta game in the background. You just go in because you want to have cool fights in this big map. Like, yeah, I can play Warzone, where it's like you drop in and you're instantly looting and fighting people. But if you want something with maybe a bit more stakes, a bit more lead up before, the pop off, this would be where to find it. I think that's the reason why Hunt is so good, right? It's because kills are so not infrequent, but because there's lots more time between confrontations, it makes the confrontations more meaningful.
Yes. Yeah.
I agree. Which is where you could see that in this, because every time when we played together and there's people, we were like, oh fuck, it's people there.
Yeah
Almost couldn't believe that there was people.
That is one of the things I think I would like a bit more clarity on. I don't think I want like markers saying, hey, there's someone near you. Or maybe I want something like that, but it just feels like when a fight would kick off, it would be because either we just gunned someone down without even realizing they were a player half the time, or one of us got downed and went, oh, it's a person, you know, and then we'd have to go and the other two would have to go and like, oh, it was people there, sort of thing, and we'd all go on like high alert.
It sounds
and
weird.
I think I would like it.
Be down though to again, like we haven't figured the game out fully yet.
Yeah.
True. Could be, yeah.
It's also it's still very early with a lot of like default army man looking skins. Give it a couple of months when people are running around as like LeBron James and John Wick.
John Wick. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, it'll be like, you won't be like, is that a player anymore? Because he'll have like a pig head on or something. And
yeah. But yeah, I like that there is opportunity for ways to get into PvP, like promote PvP, where you can, loot people's dog tags, or there's a bunch of objectives where if you take it, it marks where you are on the map and sort of. So, but you can also just go and do your own thing and chill out, and as long as you don't actually run into a person, you won't see anyone, which is, I don't know, that's kind of nice for a Call of Duty game.
Yeah,
it feels like weirdly restrained,
It's kind of, I do kind of feel like because there is no background metagame.
Yeah,
I feel like that leaves me in the position of, well, then my only objective that I really care about is killing players.
Yeah.
So I do kind of feel like maybe it does need at least just something running in the background as like a secondary objective. Like,
I think they'll be adding stuff like that as time goes, like stuff like crafting and
maybe
some kind of like metagame system.
Yeah,
at the moment, this game is just the perfect like play for an hour or two for a bit of fun, put it down again.
Yeah.
That's what it is to me. And there's nothing wrong with a game like that. You don't need to sit down and play every game for like 6 hours plus.
No, that's true. But I do wonder how much depth is the wrong word. Maybe longevity is in
the legs
loading into this game and just going and fucking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or it's the fact that it's beta, right? I would assume they will at least carry it on to some kind of 1.0 release.
Yeah.
And then be like, we'll see how this does. It is what it is with like a basic crafting system, maybe.
It is what it is.
or we carry it on and do a whole bunch of cool stuff. Who knows? It does sound.
I've seen quite a few people being like, well, why would you play this mode when you could just play the multiplayer mode if you wanted to fight other people?
Yeah.
And the issue with that is normal Call of Duty is so sweaty.
Yes.
It's not fun to play for anyone unless you are sweating out of your ass.
Well, it's
just not fun unless you're at that level.
Well, here's the thing, which is, I feel like what's kind of going on that people might not be realizing, or maybe I'm just overthinking it, is I feel like with this release in particular, the DMZ, Call of Duty is slowly appealing to all types of shooter fans.
Yeah.
In that, where you've got multiplayer, just straight up multiplayer. Here's a 6v6 lobby, sweat it out, get a bunch of kills, run around, be hyper focused.
Big contest.
Yeah, be hyper focused in this element for like a 5-minute match. And then if you want a bit more stakes, if you want a bit more meaning to each match, you've got Warzone. You can drop in, start building up. You have a longer running match with more meaning that lasts. How long's a Warzone? I don't know, maybe like 20, 30 minutes.
20 minutes, something like that, yeah.
And then if you want even more stakes than that, even slower than that, you've now got DMZ, which is this, potentially you can go like, we played matches and we went like an hour without seeing real people.
Yeah.
And it's
very calm.
Even more stakes, but it's just less confrontations.
But then once the confrontation happens, like fucking shit hits the fan.
Yeah, and it's almost
oh my god, it's people.
Yeah, and it's almost like you've got 3 different, not difficulties, but different types of play, like fast-paced sweat, middle ground, Warzone, or this really slower.
Which also
DMZ.
it's weird to call it slower because it's still COD gameplay.
Still COD.
Yeah,
like
time to kill is still extremely small.
Yeah, and it's like some of those AI are lasers.
Yeah.
You don't just wander around killing everything like it's all easy. Nah, man, those fuckers want you dead.
Yeah, I actually think that needs changing in some degree. It's just like I don't know how you would do it, but I just feel like sometimes
it's difficult with like hit scan gun AI users because Tarkov goes through the same things where like one patch they'll be useless and one patch they kill everyone and they can't seem to find like a proper middle ground. But
yeah, have to just see what they do.
I'm just really happy a big studio feels like they're finally taking this extraction shooter genre seriously.
Yeah,
if that makes like you had Battlefield.
They are definitely doing their own version of it as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
Which is what you want. Yeah. I want different. I don't want to just everyone to just copy Tarkov. I want them to do their own thing.
Yeah.
So
what have we had so far?
Here's hoping a bunch of others.
Yeah. Tarkov, Hard One from Battlefield. Now got this. What was the free-to-play one that came out not too long ago?
Cycle.
You had Cycle.
Marauders.
It's getting there, man. It feels like
it's getting there. It is getting there. Yeah.
See people to realize that.
Here's the thing, though. Is you got to try and gauge how big the market actually is, because Tarkov has made it big, right?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't necessarily mean that the market is big.
I would argue that a lot of the market it's different because it's not like there's a market that plays this and a market that then plays Warzone. Like these people will just overlap.
Yeah,
because like you say, you play these for like an hour at a time or whatever.
Yeah,
you know, maybe
I think COD players will find the mode that they prefer playing and only play that mode.
Well, I think a lot of people will.
I think COD does a lot to like encourage you to do other modes, right? Like I'm pretty sure there's like a gun skin, or there's like a gun or a gun skin that you can only get in DMZ, but then you can use that across Warzone and multiplayer and stuff like that. So I don't.
Yeah, but even then, that gets you to go and get that skin, regrettably, and then you never touch it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. It'd be nice if there were like some actual like facts or something. Because you know they have analytics of like, you know, how much people play Warzone, how much people play DMZ, what's the overlap here? I'd love to see that.
The quick comparison I would make would be to World of Warcraft in the sense that if you have a sub, you can play Classic or you can play Retail, but you know, like I don't have stats. I will still confidently say 90% of the player base plays one or the other. They don't play both.
That's different. That's a massive time difference metric there.
I don't think it's different. I think you pick your favorite, the one you prefer to play on a day-to-day basis, and that's the one you play. And I think because the shooters are so different in the way they play,
I see where he's coming from. It's like COD players don't go out and buy Halo. COD, you know. Yeah, but that's just because I think COD is the mainstream one.
I also think that it's going to be like, is your usual group of friends a 3-player group or a 4-player group? Because if it's 3-player, they're probably playing DMZ. If it's 4, maybe Warzone.
Yeah, I don't know why DMZ specifically is 3-player. I don't know if like
Showdown.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Hunt Showdown does it.
Because Hunt Showdown. That's exactly why they're looking at Hunt Showdown enviously.
Call of Duty more than anything feels like one where they'll be like, "Oh, 3 is too few. Fine, you can have 5. What does it matter to us?" You know?
Yeah, I think that 5. I think 3 is the right number for DMZ though.
I think 3 is the perfect squad size. Just irregardless of game, I think 3 is just perfect.
So it's 4 bit too. Why is that?
4's too many.
Crazy.
2's not enough.
Yeah. 2 is not enough. 4 is too many. I think 3 is perfect.
This is in like PvP settings.
Yeah.
It's tricky because most of the time, out of the 4 of us, there's normally like 3 people, and one person's like, "Oh, I can't make it." But Warzone and DMZ specifically did feel like we all wanted to play, and it was like, "Oh, we can't," which is a massive shame.
But then I don't know. Steve backed out fairly. It felt like it was not a big deal when Steve was like, "Okay, I'll go play Pokemon."
Well, this came out before Pokemon, but it was like the Warzone. I've played COD in the past, and it's It's okay. I don't mind playing with people, but it's not a game like, oh, I fancy playing COD. It would be like if anyone gave me the choice and I was like playing games, I would not pick COD, but I don't mind playing COD if you guys wanted to play.
Yeah, well, it's mainly because it was like it was the
to
hot new thing, right?
Yeah.
It was like here it is. I still think playing like this and the way it looks and plays and the amount of stuff that's here, I do still think it's kind of crazy that these games are just free.
Oh yeah.
I think the battle royales these days they need to be free. Like
no,
you can say with PUBG that was like the first big one though, right? But
PUBG was paid.
Nowadays people don't want to pay.
Yeah, and I feel like with something like this extraction shooter, I think putting it behind a paywall is a surefire way to just kill.
Oh yeah, I think
that game.
I completely agree. I think if it was paid, no one would play it, or less people would play it. But at the same time, I do always think like when we're playing DMZ and that match we played that was hilarious, and we just had so much fun, and it's just like didn't pay for this game. It just seems crazy that it's free. I don't know. It's just I'm not trying to make a point or anything. It's just like it's just saying that
free to play model was weird, man.
Yeah,
free to play is weird.
Yeah,
you make the most money out of the smallest player base in a free to play model.
Especially because they're taking stuff out of the paid Modern Warfare to put into the free Modern Warfare, right? And to the point where I feel like buying Modern Warfare 2 is a really raw deal, unless you're
it's tricky because
Call of Duty multiplayer lifer, right?
It almost feels like I'm kind of surprised that the whole thing isn't just free these days. You know, because
they rely on like Battle Pass and
like keep the campaign. Maybe sell the campaign separate for like 30 quid. But
then they can't charge 60 quid.
Yeah, I was gonna say they know people. COD is that game where they know they're gonna get the money from it. So there's like even if it went free to play, you might get a slight boost in numbers. But the COD bros who are playing COD will pay for COD.
It just feels like I don't know the actual numbers, but I feel like Warzone is more popular than the multiplayer.
Oh yeah, well I think battle royales. I think the thing that battle royales do best is it makes anyone feel like they could be a winner out of 100 people. Like you could be like in how many times in Fortnite has it been like someone sat in a bush hoping that they can take on the last person?
Yeah,
you know, you can play any which way you want. The matchmaking's never that good in these games, and it feels like you could be that like it just takes that one match.
But then that's just backing up what I'm saying. Then it's odd that the less popular I say less popular. I've no numbers. Like that's the part these days that is locked behind the paywall.
That's what you're saying.
But again, it is a bit weird, but it probably still is. That's what people have grown up with is COD doing that or however many.
It's November. I'm gonna buy COD. That's just they don't know what's in it. They're just gonna buy it.
Yeah,
I'm more surprised there is a mode of COD that I do not have to buy, rather than that there is an off-game mode of COD that I do have to buy. You know what I mean?
Because I feel like they could just charge for Warzone again, and it would be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it must be they must have run the numbers and like if we just put this out for free, we'll make more money in the end.
It's scary because it's like I feel like the average consumer can be very fickle, right? Where it's like Warzone 3.0 comes out 2 years from now, and for the first time ever, you have to buy the COD mainline game to play it, right? You have so many. No, of course they wouldn't. Of course they wouldn't. But I'm saying if they did, you have so many other options to play instead of Warzone. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go play Apex or any other popular battle royale game that's out right now.
But no, I bet even if you charge for it, I bet COD Warzone 3.0 with a £60 paywall, I think would do just fine. I think that would still be one of the most popular games.
Yeah, probably.
Out there.
Yeah.
Well, I think they would probably do it as like normal COD is like 40, Warzone is 40. If you buy them together, you get it for 60 or something. They'd probably do something like that.
No, they'll never split that up. People have been asking for that for years, and it.
Yeah,
because most people are buying it for one of those things. So if they can get the full 60 out of you, then they definitely will.
It's crazy because Warzone 2 and DMZ are free, but if you had them in the paid copy, you have to pay 60 quid to get the campaign, multiplayer, Warzone 2, DMZ, Spec Ops. That's still an amazing deal. That's still like a brilliant
Still
deal.
A pretty good deal.
If you like Call of Duty, that's insane.
Yeah.
But then it's half that's free anyway. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah,
You're gonna play more, Josh?
I think I will.
Sam.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a casual player. I'll just jump in when I feel like it. It'll be my new casual shooter.
I've already played some with Chris, and I know that Alex wants to play some.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I need to get some sessions in with those two as well.
I feel like there's nothing, because I only care about DMZ. There's nothing here that's like you got to play now. You have to play right now. It's just like it's here when you want to play it.
Yeah.
So that's for now until they do like a season. Are they in season 1 yet, or is this like a pre-season?
Season 1, I think.
I think they're tying all their stuff. It's quite cool that it's just that it has a battle pass, but the battle pass just goes for everything.
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
That weirdly
XP,
was like, yeah. Like I unlocked a gun with it last night, and it was like, hey, you want to just take this into DMZ with you? And I'm like, oh, kinda, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that's really cool. I don't know.
It keeps you in the ecosystem. They don't want you to be a DMZ player.
Yeah.
They don't want you to be a Warzone player. They want you to be a COD player.
Yeah. I do think it's funny that there's an option whenever I boot it up. It says pre-order Modern Warfare 2 now.
Yeah.
Still, and it's like, mate, guys, game's been out for
it's coming out soon.
now.
It's coming out soon.
Boy, I hope it launches
Gotta get on
soon.
it.
Any day now.
But yeah, Warzone 2. I was worried. I think we were all kind of worried. Not worried, but like we thought we might just bounce off it. But I think it's kind of cool to see that it might have legs. It's
such a strong. It's very easy to be like, oh, there's not much depth, or this isn't Tarkov Hunt, whatever. But it's like, but you can see all the pieces.
Yes.
All the groundwork is there, and I think 6 months, a year, this could be something really, really cool.
Well, yeah, you can see the pieces where you start DMZ and you get a cutscene that says like, oh, blah blah's doing blah blah. Go here and do this, and we need this to build the base.
That's it. That's what I want. Yeah,
you get some duct tape and whatever you extract with it, and it's like, okay, now you can make some extra grenades and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it's. I can see it. It's right there.
It's all coming together. Yeah, yeah.
But yes, Warzone 2. It's free to play. Check it out. It's on Steam. It's everywhere, right? It's fucking Call of Duty. It's everywhere. You can play
Switch.
Play on Switch. Yeah, it runs better than Pokemon. We've spoken a lot about other stuff. Is there any other games people have played they wanted to talk about? Or was that kind of it?
I feel like there was.
I downloaded that Somerville.
That's made by the people that made Inside and Limbo.
What's
it called?
I really wanted to play it, and I never got around to it. I'm just booting up. It's called Somerville, all one word. It's on Game Pass, and I know Pentiment is also out.
Made by Josh Sawyer.
Really want to play that. That game looks really fun. Made by Obsidian.
These are games that I kind of look at and I like this. These look great. Onto the backlog you go.
I can't believe they're launching something like a indie, like an Inside, and they're like, hey, what's out? Mid-November, Call of Duty, Darktide, Pokemon, and they're like,
God of War.
That's God of War, and they're like, right then,
yeah,
that's what I want
perfect.
to launch my game. Yeah.
There was one small game that we haven't talked about that I did play, which was.
Go for it quick. What is it, quick?
The World of Warcraft.
I knew it was gonna be sucks. I did the same.
Is that worth saving because it's an MMO?
I was just gonna say, just a pre-patch. It felt good, but it felt. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm finally at the point now where the Wanderlust of WoW is like,
oh my god! If you're getting hit, then
if Steve's out, that's it. WoW is doomed.
The funny thing for me is it's almost coming around full circle because I am so not excited for WoW. I'm like, it could actually be good because I'm finally not excited for it.
I was at work and I had Steve's stream up. I was like just listening whilst I was doing some work, and I could believe it. It's just World of Warcraft. It's just World of Warcraft.
It is just World of Warcraft, and hopefully that'll just be a thing now.
Yeah. But
Because
it's just
before
like,
it was like, oh, World of Warcraft, it's the best MMO, this, that, the other, and it's like, no, let's acknowledge it's shit and
Yeah.
stop overhyping it, and then maybe we'll actually get something we can appreciate.
it's becoming like I'm gonna like kind of shit on Guild Wars 2 a little bit. When like Guild Wars 2 would get like a new expansion, and they'd be like, Guild Wars 2 new expansion launch trailer, I'd be like, cool, and then kind of move on. Despite I've played Guild Wars 2, I'd be like, that's cool, I'd move on. That's kind of like how I'm becoming with WoW now, where it's like, wow, DragonFlight, look at this. I'm like, yeah, cool, move on. So
I booted up Steve's stream and I saw him making his Evoker, and he was like super zoomed in on his stupid dragon Evoker character, and I wanted to uninstall it, and I don't even have WoW installed. Like, I wanted to install it just so I could delete it off my hard drive again. Those characters look so stupid.
It's not a character I was going to play, but it's like, oh, I'll play the new class. I'll give it a try. It's like it was brand new on the day. I was like, oh, it's not a class for me. I feel like there's a new mechanic in that with that class where
the hold button down thing.
The hold button down, and it is it. And it's
Will's
like
steady on Blizzard.
And it's a one to get used to. Apparently, you can change it in the options where you can like press the button once and then press it again, and that's going to be a bit better for people who aren't used to like holding down buttons. Okay.
Here's the thing with WoW is after playing Classic and then going and playing Retail, it's like in Classic you have so few buttons, but every time you press one, it fucking does something, right?
Yeah.
And then in Retail, it's you press all of your buttons to build up your bar to spend your bar on your one big button.
Yeah.
And then that does the damage. And it doesn't feel as great all the time, but it's just so refined, the WoW gameplay loop now, that it's just so fluid most of the time that it's just, you just play it and you don't realize how much time passes.
Yeah.
So I can see myself playing it. I just need to see, am I going to enjoy it?
I thought having the first skill for the dragon being making it fart and the camera zoom in was a bit weird, but I guess Blizzard are aiming for those.
What are you talking about? What joke is this?
I think it's crazy that whenever you're like, okay, what's in this expansion, and they're like dragons, and you're like, okay, but like, what's the hook? What's to get me in? And they're like dragons. And you're like, okay, but like, what's the story? And they're like dragons.
Big dragon.
From what I understand,
what if I don't like dragons?
It's the 4 dragon aspects that lost their like aspect power during the Dragon Soul raid.
Okay, Sam.
In Kata, and now we're like potentially found a way to get it back.
But you know, it's like for better or for worse. When they were hyping up Shadowlands, they were like covenants, right? Which is you join a cool club with cool people, and you put on, like chess club. There's new, what was it? What else did they hype up about Shadowlands? I can't even remember. There's the more, and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting.
A lot worse.
The roguelite mode they were hyping up as well, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. And in this one, they just shout dragons at you whenever you're like, what is this?
Dragon.
There's nothing there. There's no hook.
But they're dragons who can turn into sexy men and women,
All that I care about is, again, all of those hook bits were the bits that I didn't enjoy in Shadowlands.
Right. I get that.
Yeah, they're conceptually
they're replaced
interesting.
with nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there is still stuff. There are still factions in the new.
But like the bullet point, like they always do like a features trailer with the bullet points.
Yeah.
And I think they're saying like in the previous expansions there was a lot of bullet points. In this one, it's like dragons. You can ride the dragon, and the talent tree revamp, and the UI has been.
That's it. When one of their big headline. Here's what we're doing with this expansion is we're going to change a thing back to the way it used to be because we fucked it up so bad. It's like, that's also not a hook.
They've not changed it back to how it used to be. We're still having issues with that.
Oh no!
They just changed it. They didn't make it worse or better. They just made it.
It sounds like what Will's describing. It's like Blizzard coming out and saying, We heard in previous expansions you didn't like the new features that we added, so we haven't added any. And it's like, so what have you added? Nothing.
Their big hook for this expansion is you don't have to go to Shadowlands anymore, and that's like, oh, cool, I guess.
I'm in.
yeah.
Every new feature you've added, like Torghast or the weird island expeditions, whatever, you haven't liked. So we've been listening, and we haven't added anything.
We're gonna do nothing.
We thought we could spend developer time making something new, but you wouldn't like it, so we just didn't do it. And now you have dragons in a new location, and you can fly a dragon. Enjoy. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's weird to me.
They have added other bits, but
and I'm not saying you're a liar, but like, why they're not advertising it?
I mean, have you watched the trailers?
Yeah,
I've watched all the trailers.
Like, have I just forgotten? Like, I'm not even memeing. Like, what's the new big mechanic outside of custom DragonFlight, new class, and a new location, and like the talent trees?
I don't think there is one, is there?
I thought I DC'd then. You were all
This is the issue I have when like this discussion pops up, and it's like, one, all of those things are kind of big. Two, the whole like rotating dungeons for like seasons, for week by week or month by month or whatever, for Mythic Pluses is going to be really cool. And the whole like factions in the DragonFlight and everything, it's like, yeah, okay, so it doesn't have a Torghast or a Maw, but it's like, why does it have to have that?
Because that's what brings people back. Like, a new talent tree for most people, I'm sorry, it's not interesting.
It's actually, for me, it's
dungeons and raids. That's all that people play WoW for.
I just expect those things. That, you know.
Like ever since the first launch, like the trailers for this, it's always been like, oh, are they saving something to reveal for later? Like just something. And again, it doesn't need like this. This expansion to me feels like they've gone back and rebuilt their foundation somewhat, and then future expansions will have like fancier stuff again. But this one, it just feels like pared back slightly.
I think the problem is it's so heavy on dragons, where it's like, if you like dragons, or you at least find dragons interesting, great. But because I'm not really interested in dragons, I'm like, a lot of it is like tepid to me, right?
Yeah, I see. It's like, yes, it's gonna have a new raid or a new dungeon or whatever, but it's like, but I've done a lot of those at this point. I don't feel like they're gonna do anything mind blowing with them at this point. I don't know. It's just not for me, I think, in the end of the day.
No, it's
not for me.
There's that argument of like, I understand you're right in the sense that they had all these big hooks, but then there's also the argument of all of those things like the Maw and Torghast and everything flopped. So why do them again? All everyone wants to do is dungeons and raids. So why not just refine that and make it a better experience and make it a better story?
You say they flopped. I think there was potential in all of their mechanics, like the islands and the Torghast.
There was potential. They still flopped.
They flopped, and like, so I agree with you for this one. Like, they don't need it for this expansion. Like, work on the core game because they were doing too much.
Again, I'm not saying that this next expansion is going to be fantastic. I'm just saying like the past couple of expansions, all of those extra bits are the things people complain about the most. So why not just fucking drop them?
Yeah,
he does have a point where all of as far back as like Strongholds, everybody just hates the things that they add on top of just WoW, basically. I can see why they'd be like, well, fuck them, we're just not going to do it this time.
But I do think for future expansions, it would be nice for them to be like, oh, there's this new thing that we're doing. And we like, but again, if this expansion works out and the foundation has been for better changed, they can focus a bit more on the new feature. Whereas in the past expansions, it was like new features plus we're redoing everything, plus we're doing this and that. You know,
I'm not willing to look past launch of this expansion, let alone to future. Yet.
Yeah.
Again, I'm already apprehensive. As much as it feels like I'm defending it at the moment, I still don't have a lot of hope.
Yeah.
But the path that I want it to take from what it's shown me is fuck all that extra shit. All people want is dungeon raid stories, so let's just really sort out that shit.
I just feel like.
Do I have faith they'll do it? Probably not.
Are they in a position where they can do a whole expansion, which is like, Project Health, where it's like we're going to fix a bunch of stuff?
Well, that's what they're doing.
They have to, do they not?
Yeah.
The game is dying. They got to try something, and a reset button isn't the worst thing in the world.
It is if no one comes back. Like, you reset it and fix it, but then the player base dwindles to like the smallest it's ever been.
The point is they have to do something. They can keep trying to put band-aids on it and hope that it eventually stops bleeding, or they can try and cure it altogether. And either way can work, either way can fail.
Yeah.
All I can do is play it, and then I'll let you know.
Yeah, let's I'm actually really curious.
I'm excited to hear about it, yeah.
I have no interest in playing it, but I have interest in knowing how well it does.
Yeah.
I know the whole dragon things. It's like, I'm not interested in dragons, blah, blah, blah. I know the stories about the dragons. I don't think people are going to give two flying shits about the dragons. I think the more exciting bit is people are happy they'll be able to fly as a mechanic than it actually being a whole dragon thing.
Yeah, well, it's just because all they've shown so far. Like, if you are like taking a passing look at this game, all they show you is dragon, 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 dragon. It's like all the cutscenes.
No clue what the story's about, or
the
new settings or anything. It's literally just dragons all the way down. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll move on from this. This comes out in what, like 8 days from today?
28th, yes.
Recording on a Sunday, obviously. Let us know how it is. There are a few news stories, but there's nothing like massive this week, which is probably for the best because we've got 25 minutes left. We've got very quickly. I wanted to get this one from you guys. So, Dorito Pope's Game Awards are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So
we were going to do predictions, weren't we?
Oh, we could do it.
We've got time to do them.
Yeah, it's not.
It's the 8th of December. The Game Awards.
I do want to get not predictions, but what you would vote for at least just for Game of the Year, which is what they've got here.
Okay.
So you've got for Game of the Year, you got Plague Tale Requiem, you've got Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray.
Why?
And Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Those are the 6 games. That's fine, Steve. You can cut in there because why is Stray here?
4 games on this list.
4 games. Yeah. You don't think Stray has a chance?
Stray has no chance.
Stray does not deserve to be here.
It doesn't.
There's only 2 that are on there that matter.
Neither does Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
It's good, but it's not Game of the Year.
It's not Game of the Year. I'm sorry, it doesn't deserve to.
Get rid of Stray. Get rid of Stray and put Vampire Survivors instead of Xenoblade 3.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's not fair because Vampire Survivors will just sweep everything.
As much as that meme is about, I genuinely think it deserves to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
It's out and every motherfucker played it.
We should do our own Game of the Year category.
We should do.
We'll make our own one. Yeah.
I think that'd be fun, and then we'll send them.
Although we've already leaked what's winning, but
okay.
Well,
Steve,
you just forget all that. Yeah.
Steve, what's Game of the Year for you?
I was gonna say
out of this list.
For me, it's Elden Ring because it's the choice between Elden Ring and God of War. But God of War literally came out 5 days before Game of the Year was announced. Like no one's finished it.
I do think that's cheeky. I was thinking that.
It's in my list of games of why is it on this list.
It's like,
not because it probably is Game of this year.
Yeah,
but you can't put a game that's been out for 5 days or whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say no one's finished it, and I was joking with people the other day, being like, "Oh, it's based around Greek and like Norse mythology, where there's a lot of incest. What if there's just like a bunch of incest at the end of the game that no one's played yet?" And then it's like Game of the Year. Oops.
Well, surely that would only secure it.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Oh yeah, true. It's crazy.
I'm going to completely shit on your opinion and say that God of War Ragnarok is Game of the Year.
You haven't finished either.
But I know from what I've played so far, it's better than Elden Ring.
I agree, it is going to win.
And if I had to vote for one, I probably would vote for God of War Ragnarok from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But I am still pissed that it's there.
I'm like not. It's kind of bad, but I'm like. Because of God of War being so soon, I'm just like I'm hoping Elden Ring wins.
Elden Ring might win. It might win.
Yeah,
It
as I say,
might
it's
win.
between those two.
But I don't think it deserves to.
I've heard
Well,
a
Elden
lot.
Ring. I'd give it to Elden Ring. I think it's my least favorite Souls game, and I still think it's head and shoulders above everything else I've played this year.
I came away from finishing Elden Ring being like, thank fuck that's over. I
don't think a
finish
really really good game. We said this about Mass Effect. I don't think a really really good game is cancelled by the last 5-10 hours being not good.
Yeah,
Or not as good. Still really good, just not as good.
I have not really played a Souls game before, and I loved my time with Elden Ring. Yes, I got people to help me carry me at the end to finish the game because I was like, oh, it's been so long. But what I played of it, I like even myself, I really enjoyed. Like it was like a fun world to
You didn't want to
explore.
finish it.
Yeah, and I finished it. I did get people to come do the bosses for me because I didn't want to grind.
You were like, oh yeah,
But
I got people
enjoyed
to
it.
help me at the end.
Game
I
of
remember
the
you
year.
actively being like, oh my god, I've hit my follower goal, so I have to play Elden Ring again for
I
fuck's
do
sake.
remember that.
True.
I was going to say, Steve using the word playing in regards to Elden Ring is fairly strong, but
Well, Legends Arceus isn't on
It's a bit
here, so
rich.
I had to say Elden Ring.
Yeah,
Overwatch 2 wasn't on
Oh,
here. I
that
had
came
to
out
say
this year?
Elden Ring.
Arceus over some of these.
yeah. Was
Still wouldn't put it in the conversation.
True.
Arceus
But-
this year?
Yeah,
I can't even
January.
remember.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it was like January, February.
Oh, what is time? I've heard Plague Tale
was a really
Requiem.
good game.
I've heard Plague Tale Requiem is really good. I haven't played it. It runs like absolute
it.
arse
No
on
one
my
has.
PC.
It's like Horizon
That's the
Forbidden
thing is,
West. No one has.
no one's
that
played.
either.
Yeah, I've not played 4 of these. I've not played 5 of these.
I downloaded Plague Tale Requiem, really excited to play it because I love the first one, and I put the graphics on all low, and it ran at like 29 FPS, and I was like, I'm not playing this. I'll wait for like a 60 FPS patch for the PS5 version, which also runs at 30. Then I'll play it.
Okay. So Josh, what game of the year? Which one?
Ragnarok.
Steve,
Elden Ring.
Sam,
Ragnarok.
Will.
You say stray and we'll slap you.
I think it's. I have to give it to Elden Ring because I've just not played God of War, and I think it's really cheeky that slipping it in right before the category closes.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay.
5 days
Here's the
before.
thing,
I
though,
don't
It's a
think
bit
it's
rich.
I would still take Horizon Forbidden West over Elden Ring. So
I don't think the Game of the Year awards affected Ragnarok's release in the slightest. I think it's
No. I don't think that did either.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that.
it's-
I'm just saying that it feels like, when everyone talks about, oh, it's a big
Yes.
AAA release, so IGN's going to give it a 9.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like. You know what I mean?
know
It's
what
like
you
a
mean.
bunch of people were like, well, of course God of War has to be in the running for Game of the Year. And it's like, have you played it? No. Have you played it? No. Have you finished it? No.
Yeah.
But we got to put it on there.
I feel like
See how much money they spent on it.
Yeah, I would argue it's enough time between it coming out and the award show to be fine, but the fact that people are voting right now is what makes it tricky, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do some stuff because there's a lot of categories, right? We'll do a big thing next podcast, maybe. That would be quite cool.
Yeah, I think we should all
I
do
definitely
predictions and see
wanna
who's
do
got the
this.
most right.
Yeah. So you had this, a few more news stories. I'm not sure if you guys read this one. This one's quite.
I
I
did.
did.
Yeah.
Sonic co-creator Yuji Naka has been arrested for insider trading. So,
Yep.
so yeah, the guy that created Sonic, very famous, also created Balan Wonderworld, that amazing game.
Oh, he deserved jail time for that.
That's what I thought when I first heard Yuji Naka's in prison. I'm like, oh, fucking awesome. Balan finally caught up to him.
He finally got him for
Yeah.
that.
You get what you fucking deserve. Yeah, so what's this news? The game is Dragon Quest Tact, a free-to-play tactical role-playing game for mobile. Basically, him knowing about it was coming out before it had been announced meant him, and there are a few other people. Basically, if anyone knows what insider trading, sold. I think I must have bought a bunch of stock, worth millions and millions of yen, and they've all been done for it. Basically, Yeah, what Blunt's saying in chat, which is what I said as well, which is why the fuck would you insider trade on a mobile game and not FF16 when you literally work at Square Enix?
Yeah.
Yeah, this I'll put this in the footnotes. Really, it's worth a read. It's quite funny. But this kind of like it came out of nowhere, and I woke up on my Twitter and just saw memes everywhere about Yuji Naka like getting arrested, and I was like, "What has happened overnight, man?"
To me, it's crazy because he's one of like the big names. So if a game comes out and it does well, he gets money from it.
Man made Sonic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does he?
I would
not,
also like to point out before we throw money into the issue,
Yeah.
that yen conversion, I think if you scroll down, was only like 16.5K.
That's not right, is it? Wait, no, hang on. What is it? 100 yen is like $1, I think.
I have no clue.
Oh, well, I guess that is right. Yeah.
Pounds.
Yeah.
So it's like it sounds a lot, but realistically, again, for a guy that's the father of Sonic the Hedgehog, is 16.5
to get arrested for fucking around with 16
I see what
grand.
you mean.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot to me. Like, don't get me wrong.
This is like the head of Rockstar North or whatever going into a Greg's and just stealing a bunch of pasties or something.
Yeah.
Just be like, why?
Man will make like he would have made like 10 times that in royalties just from Sonic Frontiers coming out. Instead, he's getting arrested for fucking around with Dragon Quest tacked on mobile. So weird, so fucking stupid. It's so stupid. I love this story. It's the biggest. It's the biggest one of the week that's come out, and I was like, okay. But yeah, love it.
You know, get that bread and everything.
Gotta get that bread. Right.
Frontier's not doing well.
Ubisoft and Riot Games announced Zero Harm in Comms research project. Have any of you heard about this?
I had a little bit. But...
So both Ubisoft and Riot Games are basically what Zero Harm in Comms is going forward. They're sharing technology and research towards whatever developments they make in reducing horrible comms, basically. Because as you probably both know, Ubisoft and Riot Games, both developers of the two most toxic games on the planet, Siege and League of Legends.
You say that, but realistically, every well-played multiplayer game is toxic as fuck.
Well,
but Siege and League are a certain type of toxic. They're so bad.
No,
one thing that I
play COD and shit like that as well. Like,
but I feel like COD is toxic by design almost. That's you just accept that. Like, have you ever watched a popular COD streamer? It's like I posted a GIF ages ago of like two dogs going at it on the other side of two sides of a glass door, and then someone opens the door and they're just like, "Oh, all right, yeah, what's up?" And that's literally COD lobbies. It's everyone screaming and yelling, and then they get dumped back to menu, and everyone's like, "All right, I'm going to grab some water."
It's when remember when Warzone 2 had that like conference just for Warzone, and after showing what Warzone 2 is going to be, they cut to streamers playing Warzone 2 for the first time.
Yeah.
And the people commenting professionally were like screaming, and then when he would like die, they'd be like, "Oh, what an idiot!" I'm just like, what? Why are they so horrible?
I feel like they're horrible. Sorry, go on, Steve.
I was gonna say the one thing that like I take away from this is like, yeah, League of Legends is toxic, but Valorant they've taken like a lot of steps to like be like, oh, we're recording voice comms so we can actually catch people.
Well, clearly because they're working on it, right?
Yeah, but like I'm like, if they can transfer that to Siege, because that's the thing with like for the longest time, Siege it's better now. But it was toxic. Like I used to play Siege a lot solo, and every game there'd be slurs of all different sorts in comms, like for no reason. Every single 9 out of 10 matches there were slurs, and I would report these people, and I was like, oh yeah, they'll ban them. But it's like there's no way to know if they just have records of someone pressing the voice button, don't know what they're saying at all. So it probably was abused. That's why I think the Siege toxicity was there so prevalent for the longest time, was because there's just no way to check what people are saying over. So if the Valorant tech of recording it and maybe using AI to pick up on certain words can be transferred to other games,
this is why
would
again
be great.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's Ubisoft and Riot Games both agreeing that any improvement towards reducing horrible comms is good. So they just agree to share the technology because it helps everyone. No one's going to play a Riot game specifically because it stops bad comms, right? But the fact that it does do that is really good. So why not share it with everybody?
And I'm hoping I haven't read too much into it, but I'm hoping that they're open for other companies to be like, oh yeah, let's have Microsoft come in as well, and maybe Sony and Nintendo. I know Nintendo don't have really bad comms because they don't allow any.
Have you played Splatoon 3? It's fucking horrible.
They don't have any decent multiplayer games.
Yeah.
I do think there is place in the games community to for all game companies to come together and be like, there is a problem with the attitude of gamers in general.
Yeah.
We need to do something,
Well, it's lots that you could do, besides creating technology to help improve these situations, there's also a big area of research, which, like you're saying, is just psychology. It's why are people like this when they play games? What fundamentally, why is this happening, and how do we...
It's the same as being at a sports event, except there's the anonymity of the internet. That's just all it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're in a PvP setting, you get that feeling of I want to win, and then it goes to, I want to shit on this guy. I want to make sure he knows I'm better than him. Once you get into that PvP mentality, and it's that's fine as long as you don't have communication with your opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we play a lot of Hunt Showdown, and I've always said that I think Hunt Showdown's got a pretty good community because when you're dead, you cannot communicate with your team, which is both good and bad because you can't then hyper focus on oh, this person's not pushing in, they should be pushing in. You can't tell them that. You can't say why aren't you helping me? You only can communicate with your team again if they win the fight and they res you. Whereas in other games, in Siege, the amount of times that people would run in, die, spectate me, and then be like, "You're so shit. Why aren't you doing when I'm well, I'm alive and I've got 2 kills."
Yeah, but to be fair, Steve, if you just go in and defuse the bomb, we wouldn't have these problems. Okay, I wouldn't keep yelling at you.
It's when it's your own team being toxic. That's the hard bit.
Yeah,
because it's you can manage when it's opposite teams being toxic. You can put things in place, but when you just got some guy just dropping all the slurs in the world on your own team, and you're well, I guess I report him, and then
pray that they do something. Yeah.
What else can I do?
I've asked him to stop and calm down, and now he has shot me in the back of the head at spawn next round. And it's where's the fun here? Why is this happening?
Yeah,
it's just stupid. But yeah, that's the
they just need people from the fighting game community just need to give lectures to all the others because I feel like the fighting game community, as toxic as it can be,
fighting game players to be
no. It's these people
Yeah.
will be sat next to each other and they'll be screaming and stuff like that, and then the game will end. They'll put the controllers down and be like,
"Mate,
good game, man."
I've got some videos to show you, my friend.
Yeah, but I've seen those rage compilations.
Fighting game community is either the game ends and they shake hands and walk off, or that fucking fight stick is going through the floor.
Yeah, but I feel like people will. Yeah, they'll spike their controllers, sure, but it's never there's never fist fights. They'll spike their controller and then turn to their opponent and be like, "Cool, good game. I'll see you next week." You know what I mean? And then just walk off with this shattered controller. In their
I've actually seen so many videos where it's like you say, the game ends, they shake hands. And then, as the guy's walking away, spikes his controller into the floor and just keeps walking.
Somewhere in the back, yeah. It's that guy's mad, but he's being professional about it. Yeah.
Why would I take my anger out on my opponent verbally when I can just smash my GameCube controller into the sun? I'm going to send you some stuff later. There's some really funny videos of fighting game community, just salt, really funny stuff.
Nice.
There are a few more stories, but they're not massive ones. I'll go through them quickly. Did you say there's upcoming games, Steve?
There's 2 upcoming games.
Okay, I'm going to burn through these really quickly. You've got anyone that cares. Ubisoft released Splinter Cell Remake art. They're making a top tier remake. There's some new artwork for the remake. They're looking to do.
Don't have faith in this at all.
We'll see how it is.
Poor Splinter Cell fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say in this it's still really early, so. Yeah, all you have is some
It's
concept
Ubisoft,
art.
so I'm like, what have they bangers have they put out recently?
Yeah.
And it's like none. So
But that was that. You had Witcher 3 next gen patch is December 14th. This is finally got a release date after not having one for ages. But yeah, it's got like ray tracing and a whole bunch of new stuff, and it's free. So that's December 14th.
mm-hmm.
And there's one last one. I haven't read this because Steve posted it. Something about Blizzard games disappearing from China. Be quick, Steve.
Yeah, they Blizzard are like they couldn't come to an agreement with China for NetEase, so in January they are stopping all of their services in China for now. So that's quite big considering that Blizzard has been like pretty well known for being like up China's ass somewhat.
Yeah. Well, there'll be some workaround, I assume.
There'll probably be some workaround or something, but at the moment this is like pretty big that like they couldn't come to an agreement with China, who's one of the biggest markets.
Yeah, I don't mean workaround. What I mean is that there'll be some sort of agreement that happens.
Yeah, but at the moment they've said they couldn't come to an agreement, and Blizzard have chosen to dip out of the agreement for now.
Yeah. So that's the last
Crazy.
one. If you want to read these properly, they'll be in the description of the YouTube video. Yeah, that's all the news. What's coming out then, Steve? 2 little games.
Ooh, well, we've got 2 little games and a game update. So the one main one is Evil West coming out, which is a cowboy-like game where you fight the demonic hordes of hell or something.
Let's have a look. I've heard of this.
Yeah, it looks kind of Red Dead-y and also kind of hunty, where...
Yeah, I remember a trailer for this at like a game show or something.
Yeah.
Looks cool.
I don't think it'll be everyone's cup of tea, but it looks cool. Apparently it's got 2-player multiplayer, and yeah, it's like the one big release this week.
Reminds me of like Darksiders or something. Do you remember those games?
And that is on the 22nd. It comes out.
And what's the next one?
The next one is I'm not sure if this one's already out. It's called Zero Sievert.
How do you spell that?
Sievert.
Yeah, it's the one I talked about last week.
Yeah. I think Will might have. It says it's out on the 22nd, but it's you can purchase it on Steam now, so who knows?
There should be a demo of this too.
Early access, you can buy it. There's no
I'm not saying, but this is
demo
like
here.
Tarkov 2-player.
Was it during one of those demo events maybe?
Well, it must have been during like Next Fest or something.
But yeah, this is like a 2D, Tarkov like-ish.
Yeah, that's what sparked our big Warzone talk last week, I think.
Yeah. But that was on the release for the 22nd. And the only other thing is also on the 22nd, this is a more personal thing. We've got the Dead by Daylight new killer, and I'm so excited.
Ooh, that's the night.
The night, yeah.
What's the update? I'll see if I can find it. I can't spell for shit. This keyboard is so broken, it like double types all my buttons. Tarhos Kovacs.
He's got like a bunch of like he's got like 3 squires or something he can summon.
Yeah, I've seen this,
and yeah, it's just that like everyone seems to be getting into Dead by Daylight now. It's on Game Pass. I'm like,
like Laura and myself are still playing a whole bunch of Dead by Daylight still. We're still having a bunch of fun with it. This new night, I think, he goes into like some certain mode and you can have a minion patrol or like a minion chase.
Yeah, you've got like 3 different minions that he cycles between, and he can kind of like set them on paths and stuff. And also the survivor is very good looking as well, so people are thirsting over him.
Yeah, he's something like he's called the veteran or something, which is just like he's not like a war veteran. He's a veteran to these sorts of things. So he doesn't like give a fuck that he's like being chased by by killers. He's just like whatever. Yeah, it looks cool. I'll be playing that, I think. How much do DLC packs cost when they come out?
Oh,
like a tenner?
I think we can check the latest one, which is the
Wesker one, right?
Wesker pack, which it's like £9.99, but then that looks like all the old ones go down to £5.49. So I assume the Wesker one will go down to £5.49.
Oh, so new DLC.
The new one will be 99.
Yeah, new DLC pack. Yeah, what is it? Normally 1 killer, 1 survivor.
1 killer, 1 survivor now at the moment. I think they used to do like 1 killer, 2 survivors, but I think
the Wesker one might cost more because that's 2 survivors. You get Rebecca and Ada.
Maybe, yeah, actually. So we'll have to see, but it's never too bad.
Yeah, everyone is into DBD now. It's really weird.
I'm not going to play it, but I have been enjoying recently. There's a series of YouTube videos popped up on my recommended, which is like this guy accused me of hacking, and it's somebody playing the killer, and then they go and it's a bunch of people getting really mad at him for being a killer. And I don't know what anyone is saying, but it's just really funny watching people get mad at video games in it.
Those types of videos do so well for clickbait. Like there's
Yeah,
Pokemon one
they got
which
me.
I have to mute. I have to like click. I'm not interested in these channels because it'll be like I beat this team with one Rattata, and it'll be like in the comments like you cheater, you hacker. Those videos do so well. So
you listening, Will? So I get some more views.
they accuse me of cheating over VoIP.
Didn't your hacking?
Yeah,
didn't your
I should
hacking
do that.
short do really well?
It's my best short by a country mile. It's got like 50,000 views or something.
Something about hacking drives people, crazy on YouTube.
It's rage bait.
People love the internet justice, don't they?
Yeah.
When a hacker gets accused. Or
Yeah,
something,
also
whatever.
like Steve says, rage bait, isn't it? It's just come get mad at this video. Oh, okay.
I still get comments on that to both the affirmative and the negative, where every now and then I'll boot up YouTube and it'll be like, just get good, you idiot. He's clearly not hacking, you idiot, and stuff like that. And I'm just like, and it's me like checking my phone in the morning, like,
yeah, it's you counting your stacks of money in the background. All right, I think we're done there. Should we wrap it up? Let's wait for a yes.
All right. What do you? You're the host. Just tell us we're done. What do you want from us? No, Josh. I think we should continue this for another half an hour. I've got a couple things I want to talk about.
Okay, Will has spoken. Let's go. No, thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you for listening, everybody. Let's do our socials and get out of here. My name is Josh, aka BottlerWorks. You can find me on everything as BottlerWorks. How about you, Will?
Hello, I'm Will. You know where to find me. I'm Olive Meister on everything.
And Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'm Quikwix on everything. That's QIKWIX.
And Sam. Hello. Did he just go robot just for anyone else?
I think he just it looked like it sounded like he fell off his chair or something.
Try again, Sam.
I just said hello. That's all I said.
It was like hello. Well, Sam's not going to give us any socials
anyway. Someone pulled the trap door and he fell through a hole.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.